Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Business Over Brunch. We are super excited for today. If you've been joining the conversation, you know that we are a beauty podcast, and we are now in season 2. So this season, we are talking about different ways to build your brand, and today I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about protecting your brand. So today, I am joined by Attorney Ticora Davis. She is the lead attorney of the Creators Law Firm, and she's going to be talking to us about trademarking your brand. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Ms. Ticora up. Attorney Davis, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course, and I'm super excited to have you because I follow you on social media and you just drop all the knowledge. So I am so glad that we finally were able to meet up. But before we get started, of course, we know it's brunch time. So I'm sipping on a little mocha macchiato that I've been enjoying. What are you having for brunch today?
Listen, I'm sipping on a cold sweet tea. I'm sitting here and I said, let me look the part. I'll put my sweet tea in here. I love sweet tea. And so that's what I have today.
Awesome. And of course, she has that branded mug going on that we love so much. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you came to be a trademark attorney.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I am Attorney Ticora Davis. I'm the founding attorney and CEO of the Creators Law Firm. So, in terms of who I am, I'm a Christian, I'm a wife, mommy. I am a friend, a daughter. So, I have a lot of those titles and I hold a lot of those, but I'm also an attorney in my professional capacity. And so I actually started my law firm about 4.5 years ago. Many people know my story, and some people don't, so I'm happy to share again. But in 2016, I probably have been licensed to practice law for about a year. I didn't have a lot of experience yet because the previous job I had, I was laid off because they were downsized and the company wasn't doing well. And in that capacity, in that previous job, I was an intellectual property analyst. And what that meant was I did a lot of patent research, patent drafting. I supported that particular team because they were dealing with consumer patents. And so I didn't really enjoy the patent law stuff that much, but what I loved was working with the inventors. So I was able to understand the heart of creatives and the heart of inventors and understand their passion for their products and how they knew that what they were creating could really transform lives and transform their bank accounts. And so, with that insight, it really solidified the fact that I should be working with these types of people. I just knew I wasn't really particularly a fan of that type of law. I had seen a Black woman trademark and copyright attorney in law school, and she worked for Coca-Cola. I don't know her name anymore, but she was absolutely fantastic. And me just seeing her for that brief seminar or workshop that she did changed my life because when I saw her, I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do exactly what she's talking about. So I knew in my core and in my gut, this was the type of law I wanted to practice. I just didn't have an opportunity to do that. So that opportunity came in the spring of 2016. I forgot about the fact that when I got laid off, I was 4 months pregnant with our first child. So, and we had just bought a house and we were like, oh my gosh. It was really scary. My husband was like, don't worry, I got you. You can just stay home and relax. And me, I'm like, no, I got to get out there and get a job. I should have just sat down somewhere. But I went ahead and I interviewed and I got a job being like 5.5 months pregnant at an entertainment law firm. I was so excited because I thought I get to work with these entrepreneurs and these entertainers, these creatives. This is it. And I got into that job and it was absolute hell.
Oh, wow.
It was an abusive work environment. Every single day going in there, not knowing if I'm gonna be yelled at, if I'm gonna be cussed at, which those were the things that were happening on a day-to-day basis. And the lead attorney, the owner, he was just it was just hard to read. It was hot and cold. And I felt like because of the situation that I was in, I was like, girl, you pregnant. Ain't nobody trying to hire a pregnant attorney. They're definitely not trying to hire a pregnant attorney who doesn't have a lot of legal experience. Like, you are stuck, like, and this is the best opportunity you have, so you need to make the most of it. And those were the limitations and constraints that I placed on myself because of my mindset at the time. I didn't learn anything about law working with him because he basically had me being a secretary, answering calls, understanding how to run a business better. And he tasked me with that. And I resented it for a while, but I didn't realize that what I was learning was the foundational principles of how to start my own law firm, you know? And so I went on maternity leave. And when I was preparing to come back to work for him, I called him June 6, 2016. My baby was 10 days old. And I said, hey, I had the baby, everything went well. I think I'll be ready to come back to work and maybe accept some cases at home at 4 weeks and maybe come back at 6 weeks. And he said to me, I've been thinking about that while you've been out. And, I no longer think you're fit for the success of this firm. You need to focus on healing your body and get over your pregnancy brain.
Wow.
And it was like, somebody hit me in my gut. It felt like someone was trying to tell me that the blessing that was my son, the most beautiful thing that I've ever created at the time, was a curse, And I was very timid, and I just said, thank you for the opportunity, and I got off the phone with him. And so the question that I've been asking myself the entire time I was on maternity leave, meaning should I go back to this place, this pit, it was actually resolved for me. And so from there, I kind of threw myself back into, let me apply for jobs, let me find an opportunity. I just need someone to give me a chance. I applied for over 100 jobs and I didn't hear back from anybody. And so I began to do some contract legal work. And I wasn't really gaining any substantive experience with that. I was making about $20, sometimes 22 an hour. I wasn't bringing home a lot of money, and any money I did bring home, we gave to the babysitter. I did that for about 3 months. And in October of 2016, I just threw my hands up in the air. And I said, God, you ain't opening no doors for me. And I know you, and I know you'll open the door for me. You favor me. And I said, I don't know what's going on. I said, are you trying to say I'm supposed to start my own law firm? Because that was the only thing that I could think of. And that was the last thing that I wanted to do. And peace came over me that passed all understanding. And I said, God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. I was so mad. I just said, no, I don't want to. But I said, fine. Fine. I'm just going to submit. If this is what you want, and this is my destiny, I'm going to yield to it. I said, but I'm not going to call my firm the Law Office of Ticora Davis. I ain't doing it. I'm not going to keep answering these questions from folks about what kind of law I practice every day. And I said, well, what should I call myself? And I heard God's voice, and he said, you're my lawyer, the Creator's lawyer.
Wow.
And so, hence, the Creator's Law Firm is God's law firm, and we serve God. He's the ultimate creator, but we serve his people, his creative people, the entrepreneurs of the world who move things, shape things, who create things, who transform the lives of everybody else around us. And so, again, I got the revelation, but I'm like, I still don't have experience. I hadn't even filed my first trademark yet. I took on like 2 pro bono clients. I taught myself how to file a trademark. I messed one person's up. I just right though. But that sometimes is all it took. It was that willingness to just yield and say, okay, I don't have a lot, and what I do have, I'm going to use it. And I put up my law firm January 16, 2017. 6 days later, I got a phone call from VH1, and they were asking me to be on a TV show. And so that was a really interesting experience, and we can talk about that. But that's kind of like that story. That 2016 was like, I said, that was the best year of my life and the worst year of my life. It was so much hell. But now on the other side of that, on the other side of brokenness, I can see why. There's going to be a lot of opposition that comes up when you're moving towards your destiny.
Yes, that is so true. And even in, where you are right now, there's so many key messages. Like I've heard a lot of people say, like in the entertainment industry for women, sometimes it can be, that abusive, toxic environment, and then a lot of times some of us don't run to entrepreneurship. It's kind of thrown at us. And when it is, it's like, okay, God, really? Like, for real, this is what you want me to do? But then when we stop running from it, everything just takes off because you are absolutely amazing. Amazing. I love it. And I love, how you're so transparent and you're very sharing with the information that you have. You don't have to do that, but you willingly share, your knowledge and your talents with everybody. So when you're putting together and you're sharing with all of us on social media or through your wonderful webinars, like what's some of the, where do you get some of that, I guess, motivation, or how do you know what to share without sharing too much?
I'm a good listener. So I ask y'all, what do y'all need? What are your questions? And I have a big old question Excel sheet. And I go and I look at it and I'm like, oh, people were asking us this. So let's give them that. At the end of the day, my goal is to educate and empower. Uh, Intellectual property is a concept that I didn't learn about until I was in my mid 20s. And I was in a science laboratory learning and doing research on genetically modified tomatoes. I have a biology degree. So I first was introduced to patent law as a scientist, you
Wow.
know, and so I didn't even realize that there was this thing that existed in terms of how to protect the creative genius and your inventive ideas. And so for me, I was privileged in that I was exposed to it in that particular realm. And so my job is to demystify intellectual property. You compound that with the fact that not long in the history of this country have Black folks and women been even able to own property. We were treated as property.
Right.
And so sometimes in the context of being treated as property, we have to shift that mindset because there's things that pass down from generation to the generation to generation. So my job is say, how can I, and my prayer is always, Lord, please let me be easily understood. I want the content and my contributions, and even the conversations that I have, whether someone's a client or not, to be so clear that when they walk away, they can say, wow, now I know the distinction between a trademark and a copywriter. Now I know the type of business that I need to form, or now I need to know that I can avoid this particular situation because too many attorneys make it so complicated. So my consumers and my clients, they are the inspiration behind the content. And honestly, I try to go with the first idea. And what I mean by that is I will wake up in the morning and I'll have these amazing ideas, and you guys will see soon some of the things we're doing. And that's the purest idea because it's not tainted by your doubt or overthinking or your procrastination, or you don't share it with somebody else and they pollute it with their 2 cents. The very first idea that you got that made you excited, that made your eyes get open and said, this is really, really good. I just try to protect that first idea and then move with it.
Awesome. So I know that you said, your inspiration for being a trademark is, the creative aspect of it. Creatives, that can be so broad. Is there a particular industry that the creators law firm specializes in, or do you help anyone who needs a trademark?
Now, we help anyone that will need a trademark, but overwhelmingly, many of our clients fall within a variety of these core sectors that I'm about to share. A lot of them are in the finance, either personal finance or coaching space. So we're serving a lot of individuals who have platforms, whether that be they have online courses and training, podcasts, mobile applications, workbooks, any type of books and things like that. They're producing that type of content or a product or service. I also find that we're serving a lot of professionals who are makers or artisans. So people who maybe they create candles, they have hair products, body products, body scrubs, or even people who are making jewelry. So we serve a lot of makers and artisans as well. And then, sorry about that in the background.
Oh, that's okay.
We are also finding that, a lot of influencers. So people who have platforms that are built from their personal brand and their unique aspect of that. And many of the clients who are successful, as you can see online, like a part of growing your business is also part of growing your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is you now have these two platforms that kind of blew up, and there's some protection that needs to surround both of them. So we're really serving people, at least as it relates to trademarks within those particular realms. But we do have those very unique cases like people who may want to create, you know, it's really if anything there's like cannabinoid or cannabis related products, THC, and those complementary products that will relate to that because you have to be really savvy when you draft a marijuana type trademark application. So we are having clients who are in that realm who are coming to us. And then also it's always fun and a great honor when another attorney hires us. So we do have some attorneys who hire us to also protect their brand. So I would say
Okay.
kind of in those industries as it relates to trademarks. We also have some general counseling clients, so meaning they have us on retainer. So we are really their core attorney as it relates to their intellectual property, business, and contractual needs. And so we're really providing them with a suite of services on a monthly basis as their brand is scaling. And so when you're starting to hit a certain level of income, our goal, all of us, is to have an attorney on retainer because the more revenue you have, the more employees and contractors you have, your risk level goes up.
Right.
So you need to make sure that you have a comprehensive plan in place and someone who understands entrepreneurship so that they're able to mitigate things for you.
Right. And I saw the other day where I think you answered one of the questions that I'm getting ready to ask in your social media. So, where should someone start when they are looking to trademark? Should they go ahead and launch it and then trademark it, or should the trademark already be done? Like, how do we know as entrepreneurs or business people when to start that process?
Yeah, and you'll find some mixed answers on this, but in my opinion, what should happen? Because I'm thinking about my job is to remove legal targets from my client's back. And some people will start a brand and they don't know that they have a target on their back. So you can start a brand, and I've had this happen many times where people who've been in business for 3, 4, 5 years, they come to me and they say, I'm ready to trademark now. And after we do our initial analysis, we have to say, you can't trademark this name. This name is owned by someone else. You're actually committing trademark infringement, and we recommend that you rebrand. And we've had to have those difficult conversations. So when I say it's best to do it in the beginning, is to avoid that heartbreak that could come
Right.
or a lawsuit that could come later that could really devastate your business. Many of us do not have the appropriate insurance that would even cover an attorney's litigation expenses in the event that we were sued for trademark infringement, or people's insurance policies don't even cover that.
Mm.
So I'm thinking about that. With that in mind, I always say you should do it as quickly as you possibly can to avoid any of those things that can pop up. That's what happens in an ideal world. All of my clients, all 700 plus of them, that ain't the boat they in. So 50% of people do what I'm saying. Probably less than that, honestly. It's probably like 25% of my clients, or 30% of clients. They will say, "Hey, we are going to start. We're preparing to start, and we want to protect the brand." And some of those people actually already have brands and capital built up, and they're saying, "Hey, I'm going to launch this new program, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to do this new service. So I know better now, so I'm going to do it." And the overwhelming majority are in a situation where they're like, "I've been in business. This thing is booming, and I'm scaling. I got this big media thing coming up. I'm about to go on a national tour. I need to make sure I'm protected." And so that's the next best time. As soon as possible, honestly, because I don't want, I had a client one time, and the Lord will move me to do things for people as I see fit. But I saw a young lady, and I just called her thing. She said, "I'm going to be featured on Good Morning America." And I looked, and I'm like, "She want to do it?" And I was like, "Thank you, girl. What you say, my girl?" She's like, "I know." I said, "I'm going to do it." I'll do that. Every once in a while, the Lord will move me to do that because I was like, she's about to be on this huge platform, and someone could go and snap that up from her, and that's the last thing. So
Right.
sometimes you'll have some good-hearted attorneys who save you, right? But it's not always going to happen that way.
Right. Good point. Kind of off topic. We saw Nick Cannon with the whole Wild 'N Out situation. Like, he had this whole show for years, successful, and they go, "Why wouldn't you trademark that?"
Well, and not only that, like you also need to make sure that you know You have an attorney look at those agreements that you're signing if you're an employee, right? Or even a contractor of any type of network or other types of entities. And so I
Mhm.
think that has to come into play. So a lot of times when people DIY their legal or they go to someone who's not an attorney to do legal matters, they're not giving you holistic legal representation and guidance to be able to avoid those things that can really come up and hurt you. And I've seen it a lot. And so a lot of the motivation also behind my content is to also help people avoid those same mistakes that either
Mhm.
someone else has made and sometimes mistakes that I've made myself.
Right. So that actually is a good segue into the next question. For someone who can afford, I guess, the services of a trademark attorney and they go the DIY route, we all know we can search the USPTO website, but what should they be looking for to kind of avoid some of those pitfalls? Or is there a website that you recommend or that they can use?
Yeah, I think the thing too that people need to understand about searching the TESS or the T system, the trademark electronic search system, and I say this so kindly, y'all don't know what y'all doing.
That's
And
true.
whatever you don't. So people will search the exact name they want to trademark, and they're like, "Oh, there's no records. I can get it." And even the system will say, "There's no records found." This does not mean that you can get the trademark, right? But people don't pay attention to that. If you misspell Starbucks, none of their trademarks will come up. If you type Starbucks in with two S's on the end, it won't show any of Starbucks trademarks. If you type Starbucks in and spell it BUX instead of BUCKS,
Mhm.
none of their trademarks will show,
Right.
right? And so it gives a false sense of security when people do their own searches because you didn't do a proper search. Further, there's a seminal case called DuPont, and trademark attorneys who are really skilled will look at 13 different factors in order to determine, how strong your name is, and not just one. So most people focus on the name is similar in appearance or spelling, and then they stop there. But you have to look at a variety of other things. And so, with that in mind, I would avoid the DIY route as much as possible. And there are two things that you can do that are either pro bono or low bono if you qualify to get that support. There are bar organizations across the country where trademark attorneys and patent attorneys will volunteer a certain amount of their time and hours every single year to represent trademark clients pro bono. You can just Google that, or you can go on the USPTO's website, and sometimes they'll have it there, or the American Bar Association. If you type in American Bar Association and then type in like pro bono state bar stuff, they will have it broken down by state. And then
Awesome.
I would contact the state bar where you're at and say, "Hey, I'm an entrepreneur, and I really would like to get this type of legal service for pro bono, right, or low bono. Do you have a unique program?" North Carolina has the North Carolina Lawyers for Entrepreneurs Assistance Program. That is
Awesome.
called the NC LEAP, LEAP program. And for there, you can get free legal services for trademark and patent attorneys, and all you have to do is pay the trademark or patent filing fees. So that's one really great thing to do. You got a skilled attorney; they're happy to help. You don't have to sit here and try to search and do it yourself. You're going to have that counsel. So look at that first before you even do the DIY route. Second option is to look at the USPTO's website because they have law school clinics that are trademark and patent clinics. So you will have aspiring law students who are working together as a project on your trademark or your patent for the quarter, and then they are supervised by a licensed attorney. So
Awesome.
they're really, you might have 4 or 5 different law students who are really excited. They want to make sure they do things right, working on your unique legal stuff. And it won't even just extend to trademarks and patents. It could also be forming your business, drafting your contracts, things like that. And so that's another thing that you can do where you can get access to that amazing legal counsel, or law students who are wanting to be attorneys and they want to do well and they're really excited about your case. That those would be the two things that I would do before I would try to do anything myself. And finally,
Awesome.
I mean, as an entrepreneur and a CEO, this is not it ain't your rodeo, right? And so it's not your ministry. So go ahead and defer that out and be a CEO. This is a type of delegation where if you can say, okay, I'm focused on building my brand, focused on the marketing, focusing on the product or service, but I know I need these legal aspects taken out. I can delegate that to a pro bono attorney, or I can delegate it to a law school clinic. Now with the clinics, you might have to take some time, or there's going to be a trade-off. It might take you a little longer
Mhm.
to get done, but at least that's something you can explore.
Right. And so when someone is starting the trademark process, I know sometimes people will think that, because I put the little TM behind my name, like people can't use it. So when someone is starting the trademark process, at what point can they say that their name is trademark pending or it's trademarked?
Well, you can put the TM symbol on your name right now, whether you filed a trademark application or not. The TM symbol lets the world know that you are claiming ownership over that word, phrase, or logo, and that you have either filed a trademark application or you intend to file a trademark application in the future. So it's totally fine if you do that. Many people will put that there because it is a deterrent to kind of ward off people to, from stealing the brand. And so it
Mhm.
is a good thing to do. So you can do that right now, even if you haven't filed a trademark application.
Awesome. So already some really great information. So of course this is a beauty podcast, but this information applies to anybody. But I want to ask you about your webinar that you did last year for the Dirty Dozens, which had a lot of different beauty things in there. I know myself and one of my other friends that's here in Charlotte, we were chatting about it afterwards and were like the Macaulay Culkin, like, oh my gosh, like who knew that some of these things, you could not trademark. So when you are working with like your beauty clients or your artisans, what are some names or ideas or logos that they've tried to trademark, but you're like, no, you can't do that because somebody else has a really good hold on it.
Yeah. The word allure is one of those that comes up a lot. And Chanel Incorporated, they own Allure because they have that in connection with cosmetics, specifically perfume, and I think some body products, sprays, talcum powders. And so allure is it's a melodious term, but I've
Mhm.
seen people attempt to put that in their product names. Or I even saw one girl who was not a client, but it's very interesting. Her logo was like a woman. She had a beautiful afro, and in the afro was kind of like the calligraphy of the words allure. So she incorporated the word in the logo, and they were like, "No, ma'am, no, Sam." Like Chanel still filed opposition. So that word for sure is one to stay away from if you're in the beauty space, because Chanel has that on lock, and of course they have lawyers and capital and a legal team to defend their brand. And so it's ultimately going to be a losing battle, a waste of your time, energy, and resources. So I would say most certainly stay away from the word allure. Um, the other word that I'm trying to think specifically about, um, the other ones that I have in there. Here I have my little list right here. I can tell you. So allure is one. I have also seen, um, which is a little weird, the word glow.
Hmm.
GLO or GLOW. So Yoga Glow is a company and they provide yoga services. They also have it also extends outside of yoga to things like clothing, apparel, as well as any type of wellness related, health related, beauty related stuff. And so they really try to stop people from using the word glow in connection with those types of wellness, yoga, mental health, wellness related products. I, in my opinion about them, have feelings, okay? I have feelings about them. In my opinion, I don't think that they have to come up against the right person to block them, and that person has to have a lot of capital in order to do it, because glow is a term that is so overused in the marketplace.
Mhm.
Arguably no one company should be able to own it in connection with like courses and wellness, because people use it a lot. So just know that if you put glow in your trademark or you're using it, you better make sure it's analyzed, and you also want to make sure that you're prepared for a potential opposition or cease and desist from Yoga Glow if you're in that realm. And so that's another one as well. So I would say those are the two specifically from that list as it relates to beauty or beauty and health and wellness, because they're all kind of related, that I would definitely watch out for.
Right. And I know you just thinking about from that list, the one that stands out is not beauty, but Hugo Boss. You were when you said that, we were all like, who's still checking for Hugo Boss in
Right.
2020?
I'm like, what? The thing about Hugo Boss is I think they know, like the writing is on the wall. So they won't let someone who just has the word boss in the name, if it was just a clothing company that was boss. But what they would do is they would, if you had boss and something else, they may say, hey, we want to make sure that your logo is not similar to Hugo Boss. So that one was pretty shocking for folks, as well as Hue. People were like, what? I can't use Hue, like in connection with like retail store services or clothing or hosiery or pajamas, like t-shirts. No, Kaiser Rock Corporation is not playing those games.
Right.
So that was a big one where people were like, what?
Yes.
But
Yes.
nobody knows that. And that's the thing about searching the trademark database. You can search and then the name is all in the clear, at least you think, because your name may not be identical to that, right? But if you don't know that these brands are highly litigious and they come after smaller businesses to stop them, you would waste time, energy, effort in filing a trademark and then putting money into a brand that you may not be able to own.
Wow.
And that's the benefit of having a really good attorney.
Yeah. Definitely. And I know like people like Rihanna and some other people, when they have an idea they go ahead and trademark it. Like I looked up Rihanna, she has a lot of trademarks, whether we know if the brand exists now or has been or she has plans for it. So, and I know my mentor, she has a couple of different trademarks. When she thinks of something, she go ahead and trademark the name. So is
Yeah.
that something that you would recommend? Because is there a time limit on a trademark, or do you have to be active for it to stand?
Well, at the end of the day, in order to get a trademark, you have to eventually start using it. So you can't just say, I'm filing a trademark application for this word, and you never have a business or a product or a service. Because if you look at the name trademark, it's in the name. It's a mark used in connection with trade, a business.
Right.
So if you're never conducting business, if you're never affecting the economy, trademark rights will never vest. Now, you can file an application for consideration, but the trademark office, before they allow your trademark to register, they're going to say, where's the proof? Where's your website? Where's the redacted receipts? Where's the podcast page, right? Where's your webinars? Where's the PowerPoints? And these are not, you don't have to do all of these things. It really depends on what your trademark services or goods are used in connection with, but they're going to want to see proof. But again, you can file an application if you want to say, I want to hold my space in line pretty much in connection with this name. I like to call it a future use trademark application. That means you might hear other attorneys say it's an intent to use. That name is so confusing. Like, oh, it's a use-based trademark or is it intent to use? That's just weird language. I just say it's present use, meaning are you currently using it right now in the present? Are you going to use it in the future? And so people are like, oh, okay, I need a present use, or no, I'm going to do future use. But I like to be easily understood, so I just change things around a bit, right? And so you can file a future use trademark application. And what that does is it reserves your space in line and holds your spot in line, so that if somebody else files the same trademark application after you, you can be like, hey, buddy, get in line behind me. I was here first. I have my claim on this name first. And if I don't use it, then I step out of line and then it's yours. So that's kind of like how it works with future use. Yes, there's a time limit. So when you file that future use trademark application, what happens is it goes through this whole process of being reviewed by multiple attorneys at the trademark office. There's different people who have different type of seniority. It goes through a lot of layers of review and analysis in order to be mature to registration. But if they see a future use application, they're like, oh, okay, they want to get this name. They're going to launch their business in the future. They don't have proof yet. We're going to give them a thumbs up and tell them, hey, you guys got it. You can have this name. Now show us the proof. And from that moment that they ask for the proof, you have 6 months to get it to them.
Okay.
And let's say, for instance, at the end of that first 6 months, you're like, I ain't got it, boss. I'm still working on it. But you can file for an extension, and that extension gives you another 6 months. You can ask for an extension 5 separate times. So, in
Wow.
theory, you can have 36 months or about 3.5
Mhm.
to eventually come to terms, launch that product, program, service, whatever it is, and provide the trademark office with proof on that future use path. If it's a present use trademark, you already have the proof. You put it in your initial application. So when they see everything and it all goes well and they give you a thumbs up, your trademark application will mature to a registered trademark much faster.
Awesome. So, guys, you all see why I was so excited about having Attorney Ticora on today. She's given us so much information, and I feel like there's so many different questions that could come up. But of course, she's a wonderful attorney with a very wonderful success rate. So, we don't want to take too much more of her time on this amazing day. What do you have coming up in the pipeline that can help people, or how can we connect with you if we want to enlist your services?
Yes. So what's really exciting, I know this is going to debut on Saturday, August 6th or 7th. Can't remember the date, but this upcoming month, when you're listening to this, we're actually going to have this cool experience called Trademark Packing Party Live. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you guys, I'll give you a sneak peek.
Ooh, yes, we
Nobody's,
are here.
nobody's seen this before, but these are our new boxes.
That is so cool.
So in these boxes, what we do, because we love our clients and we really appreciate people supporting our business, is we get our clients' trademarks framed because this process can take about a year and a half. That's a long time to wait.
Mhm.
A long time to wait to get your trademark. And what we want to happen, because what I used to do is I would mail it to people in an envelope, and I was like, this is so underwhelming. It should be a party and a celebration. And so what we're gonna do is have a party and celebration. And so we're gonna show you guys. It's gonna be kind of interview style where I'm talking about the process. You'll see my team in the back packing the boxes, shouting out those clients, and so that their trademarks are coming to them. So you'll get to see that experience live. Get to come on and ask us questions about the trademark process. And of course, if you want to hire our firm, you'll be able to do that as well. And so that's going to happen Friday, August 27th. I'll make sure that I get you some information about the time and whatnot. We're still kind of figuring that out. But that's a really awesome opportunity to connect with us and see the team and see what's happening and what we're doing. And so that's the major thing that we have coming up in the month of August 2021.
That is so cool. I want to file a trademark just so I can get the box. But I
Right?
do need to look into that for myself, though. Thank you so much for joining us today. One last question. I know that previously you had a training or a webinar. Is there anything that someone can look out for? Another like helpful session that you had similar to the Dirty Dozens. Do you have anything like that coming up that we can be on the lookout for?
Yeah. So what I actually did was instead of doing a webinar for Dirty Dozens, I looked at it again and I actually recorded it as a as an audio training. So if you text trademark to 1-844-389-8268, you'll get that audio training. And so you'll find out all of those names, that Dirty Dozen that I call, plus a few extras to avoid in your brand. I wanted to make sure that when people are in a position where they could potentially hire me, that I was helping you even before you came to me. A lot of attorneys will tell you to trademark the name, but they won't tell you what to avoid. And so it can save you time, money, effort. So when you are ready to start the process, you've avoided some of those legal landmines that a lot of people step on. So if you download that audio training, that would be a wonderful way for you to learn more about that and about the firm. And so that would be a wonderful resource that I highly recommend you guys get.
Awesome. And it really is. Like I said, I took it, and when she's going through it, you're definitely going to have some jaw dropping moments. And like, I can't believe that. Like, really? Seriously? So I definitely suggest that you follow up and take that training. So, Ticora, thank you so much again. I'm glad that we were finally able to connect so that you could share this information with us. How can we connect with you on social media, or if someone wants to go ahead and enlist your services, what do they need to do?
Yeah, you can connect with me on social media at my first and last name on Instagram, Ticora Davis, or even visit our law firm page at Creators Law Firm. If you're interested in our services, we do have a trademark sales page. You can find that if you go to creatorslawfirm.com and click trademarks in the navigation, or if you type trademarks.creatorslawfirm.com. What's awesome about that trademark page is it really gives you an overview of the process, and you're able to choose your package. At the end of the month of August, though, we're going to sunset two of those packages, the $2,000 breakthrough package and that legal legacy package, which is 5K. We're going to rebrand the Pioneer package because we really feel like we just want to sell one because we feel like we want everybody to have that experience of having a trademark party, being able to have the full power of our brand, and we don't want to diminish anyone's experience with us. And so if you are interested, now is a good time to get in on levels. So that would be how you can connect with me. And thank you so much for today's opportunity. It's humbling for me, despite whatever level of success that I reach, where people ask me to come and share my smarts with them because I always remember my story, my origin story. So I thank you so much for allowing me to come and share today and also sharing your audience with me.
Awesome. You have been absolutely amazing. I love the information that you've dropped on social media. So I'm always looking out for what you have new because you're very real, you're very transparent, and you're very like everything is head on. So if there's ever a question that you have, definitely follow Takora's page on Instagram because she's probably going to answer it. And you can look and see what her past content has been. So thank you, Ticora, again for joining me today. Thank you all for sharing with us for Business Over Brunch. Don't forget to meet us every first and third Saturday here on YouTube. You can also follow us on Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Until the next time, enjoy whatever is on your brunch menu and be blessed.